in December 2022 in a Spirit Vine Retreat Center in Bahia, Brazil. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
My name is Jan. I'm a student, and I came here with a lot of curiosity, a lot of skepticism as well. And I wanted to just find out if this might be something valuable to do. And it definitely was, and I think in the later questions there will be more reveal about that.
My name is Gustavo Dantas. I'm 48 years old. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm an entrepreneur, and this is my third visit here to Spirit Vine, and just glad to be here to share my experience.
My name is Tyler. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm 36 years old, father, and build rockets for a living.
And you, Gustavo, is your third time here?
Yes. What brings me back?
Yeah.
I feel that every time I'm here, I'm upgraded. I can tell you that what you build here is amazing. I will not go do ayahuasca in any other place, and that is fact. After you spoiled for me in a way, because my first experience was here, so when I went to another place I was like, oh, okay, that's different. And then I went to another place, I was like, oh, that is also different. And I think I'm done exploring.
Why you didn't like it, the other ones? Or you like them?
I think the thing that people really don't know is this is a selected 16 people group, not bashing in any other places that can have 80 people, 100 people that have seen. It's different, and you see us, and you're available not only. And what amazed me since the first time I was here, it wasn't just after how we integrate, how you lead the room, which is watching an artist doing their job, leading the room and helping people to discover. It's fascinating. I have goosebumps just to think about it, because not everyone has this gift. Unfortunately, like any other business, you have good professionals and not so good professionals in business. Some people got no business in being in business, and you're definitely gifted to be in this business of business. Is still a business to heal people, and it's incredible. And then the experiences that I had, it was super valid for me to experience something else and learn how to navigate through the medicine better. But I really don't have the desire to explore any more places. So, and that's what I'm saying, it's only 16 people, and it's not for everyone. If you're watching this video right now, you need to figure it out if you're interested in healing or committed to your healing. It sounds similar, but it's not. When you're interested, you do what is convenient when it's with you there's a time but when you're committed, you do what it takes. If you're not ready to do the work, don't come here. You're gonna waste your money. Don't come. First, you need to be accepted to come here. It's not like we open doors, come everyone, we reach that many, close. No. And I know people that apply and it got denied to come here, and then eventually they did their own work, and then they got approved. So I feel like we're very privileged just to be here, just to have 16 people here from all over the world once a month. Are you kidding me? So we're very fortunate. So don't waste your money or your time coming here if you're interested. Only come here if you're committed. And this is my true 2 cents. Do this favor to yourself. Don't come if you're not ready to do the work, and do a pre-work. I know that someone is watching. You may have this pain here that you don't know what that is, and it doesn't go away, and it's been there for a long time. Start working on yourself. Do something, and then prepare yourself to be here, because if not, I know another person too that is a personal friend that came here, and after ceremonies left because it was not ready. Some people come here, I'm going to Brazil, now ayahuasca getting more exposure in the media, and it's cool and all that, but
Yeah,
it's not for everyone.
A lot of people think that it's something more recreational.
Yes.
That you will have a good time, vacation, but healing can be very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Sometimes you will recover memories that were painful,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people don't want to enter there.
Yeah.
Even though you are an adult, you are powerful, you have resources, no, but I don't want to go there. For what? It's the past, I don't need to go there again. But you are carrying this inside of you, and it's producing pain.
Mm-hmm.
So now we are here to bring this content to the surface and apply the techniques we have in order to relieve, to remove these pains and discover the truth, because there are a lot of lies and decisions that we took when we were very little. So everything is distorted in the darkness. When we bring to the light, we discover, oh, but this is not that bad now. It was very bad. Now it's not that bad. Normally, if you are very tired of yourself, very tired of repeating again the
That
same
was
pattern
me.
of behavior, say, okay, I will do anything to free myself. This is the right place to come.
You're doing it with a group of people that are all just as committed as you are, and so that gives it a sense of safety when you're here, a sense of boundaries, a sense of belonging, and knowing that there's other people out there that feel the same way you do. I know for myself, I kind of felt like I was alone in my world, and that there wasn't other people that prioritized their mental health, prioritized healing, prioritized dealing with these things from our childhood, because so many people nowadays seek to numb with alcohol or just being oblivious to their problems, or like you said, it's in the past, it's from my childhood, why is it relevant now? And when I came here, I was in a circle with 16 other people that had that same passion that were sick and tired and wanted to learn to love themselves and wanted to learn to heal the deepest wounds that they had from childhood. And we're open to hearing that kind of new teaching too, right? Because inner child healing isn't a common thing, as simple as it sounds to the three of us now. It's not really a common thing to hear about on a daily basis or hear people talking about out in the world. It's like, oh, did you? Well, go back to when you were 4 years old and give that kid a hug.
It's not that simple.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
We're all leaving now with that new technique, and for me, a new awareness that there's other people out there that are struggling and seeking healing and this new way of living.
Yeah. One of the keys of this technique is that you need to be in trance when you go back and be a child again. It's not just I am remembering when I was 4 years old that happened. No, I am there.
Yeah.
And it's very real. So you need to be in trance, because when you got the trauma, you were in trance. So in order to remove it, we need to enter in the same state of mind.
Yeah, and what happens when you're in trance is you feel it. I mean, you're there. Like that experience I was saying when I was 3 years old. I mean, I was there. I felt everything that child felt at that moment, and because of that, it all made sense. It was very hard and very, very painful. And I realized why I had been stuck in that loop for 35 years.
Why you took all that decision? You said that I am very selective for the group, and I learned after all these years that some people are not ready because they have magical thinking that they will come and they will drink and everything will be fixed, and this is not true. Doesn't exist that. You have to do the job. For example, it's very common today that people are taking antidepressants, sleeping pills, amphetamines, and of course you need to be clean to drink ayahuasca. So I ask them, go to your physician with the supervision. You have to stop weaning off. Ideally you have to do psychotherapy, because if you quit the antidepressant, everything will come back, all the symptoms. So we need to be sure that you are balanced when you will drink ayahuasca, not only clean, balanced, because you drink ayahuasca and ayahuasca is an amplifier. So we amplify anything. If you are depressed, you will be very depressed. If you are paranoid, you will be very paranoid. So I need to be sure that you will be safe here and it will be productive. And some people say, no, I don't need to go to the doctor, I can quit. That is an alert. That is not okay, because you quit and you need supervision. It's not safe just to quit the medicine. And also you need to discover why you were so depressed. Why you didn't know, you were taking pills all your life, but you don't know why you were depressed. So the cause is a mystery. And with ayahuasca can come to the surface. You don't know how to deal with this because all your life you were depending in things coming from the outside. You were not using your resources to work and to go deeper. So in certain cases, the person is not ready yet. So I explain all of this, and if they do the right thing, eventually they can come. It's not that I don't accept an application because they have a lot of problems. They can have a lot of problems, but if I see that they are ready to work on that, even though it's uncomfortable, it's exciting. It's not that it's uncomfortable and you are suffering the whole retreat. It's very exciting. You are discovering things about yourself that you didn't understand before. So self-discovery is very interesting and it's forever. You mentioned that you were skeptical. So now you are not skeptical anymore, or just a little? Can you explain more?
I was skeptic at the beginning, but still open to change my opinion about it. And yeah, because I thought there can be some beneficial to some like advantage of doing it, but it could also just be like a huge joke or like a huge, I don't know, hocus pocus, we're selling you something and then you will feel better. Everything.
Specifically, you were skeptical about what?
That this can change your life.
The ayahuasca, the retreat.
Specifically the ayahuasca, but of course also like how it is set up and so on. Like for example, like reading the reviews, like everything seemed like too good to be true, and well, they are actually right. It's, at least for me, it was a really helpful experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now you are more inclined to think that all the reviews are true.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And what do you think about ayahuasca can change life? Is only ayahuasca, or is also the work we do previous the ayahuasca?
It's of course everything combined. So it's the work you do beforehand, the preparation that is important to you, that you want to change some things and you want to get like a clearer view about things in your life, and that's like really important. And that you're like clean in a way, that you're not having addictions, and then of course like how this the ceremonies that's been set up, the whole retreat is like from point to point everything is clear, the guidelines, they set you in a good frame to do it. Then of course the group, like everyone is vulnerable and they're willing to share, and then you can learn so much from them and then they can learn from you. Then of course the ayahuasca ceremonies in itself, the workshops, everything combines like a big puzzle to me, and like for me it worked so much. Like I think I can see pretty clear what I have to do now, and it gave me like a vision of who I am and what I should do, and that I can't ask for more, you know.
What specifically made you change your mind? There was something, a message, an insight. What was?
I think the biggest message was, for me, or like one of the biggest messages was that I didn't know that I don't forgive myself for the things I've done and for the person I am. And I always try to change things about me because I thought I'm not good enough. Like I need to, for example, go to the gym and like be really huge, have a lot of muscles and so on. So I am something. I have more worth. But this is essentially just trying to be better than someone else, and then looking down on them, and that's not the way. Like, my worth has nothing to do with that. My worth is always the same, like everyone else's is. Yeah. So and now, of course, I get back to these old patterns of behavior, but now I know, okay, this is not helpful and it's not true. Yeah, I forgive myself, and I actually love myself now. That's
You don't need to forgive yourself.
yeah.
So you discover something very important, that there was a wound in you, probably since you are a child, that you decided that you were not good enough, and now you realize that this is not true at all. So you were working in healing this wound, and now you don't have this pain, or in this amount, probably it's less. So you realize that what you decided in your childhood was not really true.
Exactly.
Now we need to work in changing the pattern of behavior.
Exactly. Like, the thoughts have been changed now, but it's only the beginning of the work. Like, now I have to go out in the world and like prove that this is true, and like then it's also becoming more easy to think about these things because they're actually my reality now.
Do you remember when you decided that you were not good enough? What happened that day, that moment that made you take that decision?
I don't remember the exact day, but it must have been really early in my life, probably like the first beginning of socializing, like probably around kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you see like everyone being able to have proper relationships with each other, and then I was not, and then being bullied in a way, and like not having friends, that was like really hurtful. And then I decided for my own, like, yeah, I'm just not good enough. It's just who I am, and I can't change that. That was what I decided.
So there was the decision that you were not good enough. Plus, you said children bullying you in school, so you were carrying these bullies inside of you, and they were repeating the things inside of you. The second workshop was spirit releasement, where you learn the technique of how to get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
For example, in your case, these bullies. Did you remove them from your system?
I tried to exercise, but I actually didn't get that much out of it. I couldn't find them. But when I was in a ceremony, I don't remember which one it was. But like, I thought about all of these situations, what happened, and it seemed like okay, I've thought so much about this stuff, like it doesn't affect me anymore. It's like I'm in the situation, but it's like, okay, yeah, it was bad and it was painful, but like it doesn't define me anymore.
So they were powerful when they were in the shadow.
Yeah.
But when you put all of this in the light, they lost the power.
Yeah.
So I very much came here thinking that ayahuasca was going to solve all of my problems, and it was going to be this, magical potion that I drank that solved everything. But I'm leaving, realizing how important the work I did before I came here was, and identifying that the power really lies in me and all of that hard work that I've done leading up to ayahuasca. And ayahuasca definitely amplified the parts of my mind that I couldn't see and that I couldn't access and heal. But when I got to that point, it was the work that I've done and the techniques that I've learned through inner child healing that really helped me through that moment and heal that child in that moment, and be able to kind of let it go and heal that part of me.
So you didn't start from zero, because you did a lot of work. But, however, with all the work you did, you were expecting something will save me.
Yes.
Something outside of me.
Yes.
And this changed it here.
Finding all of that power to change my life, to create my life in myself now, instead of something outside of me, that I learned is really just from how I was programmed, through what we were taught growing up.
What specifically new you discovered here?
On the second night of the ceremony, kind of as soon as the ayahuasca kicked in, I kind of immediately went to a memory that I had of being when I was 3 years old, and that's crazy, right? To remember a memory from 3 years old.
You remember the memory, or you were inside of the body of this 3 years old child?
I was inside of the body of the 3-year-old child, feeling everything that I felt when I was there during that traumatic event when I was 3 years old. I remember the pajamas I was wearing. I remember the way the carpet felt on my hand. I remember my parents fighting and arguing and it getting very violent and out of hand. And I remember getting sent to my bedroom and having to deal with all of that emotion and feeling like I needed to rescue my mom and feeling like I needed to be her savior and protect her, but also struggling with wanting my dad to stay there. And so I went up to my room, with my inner child, and I hugged him and I loved him and I told him it was okay and that he didn't have to, save anyone and could be a kid and have fun. And it just shifted. I mean, it almost immediately freed my mind. And I was a little skeptical, to be honest, even after that happened. And so I called my mom because this was something that happened when I was 3 years old, and I had no memory of it before this, and I had no recollection of it. And so I called my mom and I said, "Hey, this is going to sound a little spooky, a little crazy, but I had a very real experience that I remember this memory of being 3 years old and living at our old apartment, and you and Dad getting in a very serious, violent fight," and asked her kind of questions about it, and she started crying because she was like, how do you remember that? You were so young, and I've never told you or anyone about what happened that night. And there was a very specific thing that happened during that event that I asked her about, and it just blew her away. That I remembered that detail. And so that's where it's doing the work and understanding the technique of healing that inner child. That was all me, but what ayahuasca did was amplify and go to the parts of my brain that I had shut off and I couldn't access, and I truly healed that kind of final loop of my trauma that night. And it was an amazing experience.
You started to understand why you were doing what you were doing.
Yes, absolutely.
Finally.
Yeah.
There was a reason.
Yeah, and to be completely vulnerable, I was taking that out on my daughter, right? I was stuck in that loop all the way from being 3 years old, and now at 35, it was coming out as me trying to rescue my daughter, and constantly being critical of her, and kind of always on being very tough on her to keep her safe.
When did you understand the cause of that?
That night, after that ceremony. I mean, almost immediately.
So you were feeling very guilty. Because
yes,
sometimes
absolutely.
you were very tough and critical.
Absolutely.
And now you understood that also there is your inner child.
Yes.
That was a little envy.
Yes.
Because she had
100%.
a very loving father.
Yes, absolutely.
Your inner child didn't.
Right. And now I know that I can adopt my inner child and raise my daughter at the same time. And I'm super excited to go back home as the person that I am now. And just have fun with my daughter and be this new person and love and myself and my inner child. And then the third night for me was probably the most powerful night. Had a lot of healing the second ceremony, but the third ceremony is when kind of everything shifted for me. And you told us to announce our intention, and almost immediately I had this, I didn't realize it, but I had this last remaining little piece of shame that I had from something that happened in my childhood. And I had kind of dealt with it before coming here, but I didn't realize that I still had shame about it. And I was still holding on to that shame. And so as we all sat down that night after drinking our ayahuasca, I was like, oh great, I'm going to go into this trip thinking about this awful thing that I still feel shame and guilt about and feel gross about, and this is going to be awful, but the techniques that you taught us here and that I've learned over the last year of inner child work, I'm like, no, I'm going to, like, before this kicks in, I'm going to integrate that part of myself. I'm going to integrate my shadow, and I'm going to accept that. Like, that kid, I was a kid, you know, I didn't understand what I was doing back then. Of course I would feel this way or that way. Of course I would feel shame. Of course I would feel gross about it. And so I integrated that part of myself, and then immediately kind of went into the experience that night, and just immediately, like, felt my mind for the first time in my entire life. If anybody's ever can understand what I'm saying of living your whole life in survival mode, I had a very traumatic childhood, and so from the age of 3 years old, when I experienced that first trauma that I just described, my brain had been kind of hypervigilant and constantly aware of my surroundings, constantly aware of how I affected other people and they affected me, and just in survival mode. And that night, like, it was just like a light switch. It just switched for me. And for the first time in my entire life, I'm not in survival mode anymore. My brain has healed. Like, I healed my brain. I want to make that very clear too. Like, it wasn't ayahuasca, it was me and all the work that I've done and accepting myself and integrating my shadow, and going back and dealing with all those traumatic events from childhood and re-parenting that child. But ayahuasca amplified and allowed me to, helped me identify my power to heal those parts of myself. But yeah, my brain is healed now. Like, I think there's a sense of euphoria that we all get from being here that will probably kind of fade, but that will not leave me. Like, I don't ever have to go back to living in survival mode again. I've healed all those parts of me that put my brain in survival mode, and it's a powerful thing. Like,
you allow yourself to finish that contract.
yes,
You cancel and annul that contract.
yes. And again, the workshops that you do before the ceremonies are so effective. And I mean, that was the workshop, right? It was helping us realize that we've written all these contracts in our mind that we can void if we want to. And that was one of them for sure, was that I needed to continue to punish myself. And I was addicted to suffering because I felt this shame and guilt and gross about, things that happened in my childhood. And we don't have to do that. Like, at any given time, we can cancel that contract and start fresh and start new. And it's a beautiful thing to be leaving here knowing that I'm in charge of my life, my destiny.
You can heal that wound